Today I'm going to be showing you how to do the most important part is to measure this space. Is what you need first is a measuring tape as well, or a laser tape, which gives you much easier and more precise measurements. So what I'm going to do is measure the back wall and show you step by step. What I'm using is a sheet of paper, basically a drawing that I already have prepared, but in a second I'll show you how you can do it with your iPad or with other options as well using other softwares. Again, please understand, very important is to focus and understand that you're measuring a space and you're going to be designing something, so your measurements are super important. So you have to measure all the openings, all the walls. Here I'm using a laser, so it's much faster. And basically, if you wanted to do it on your iPad, you take a picture of the space and then just press edit, and then in the top right select markup. So now you're able to draw on your picture. This way it gives you a visual, so you'll see exactly what you're measuring from what wall to what corner. It also shows you that the doors that you're measuring are openings, they don't have any casings. So you put the height, you put the center of your hood, you can measure all your electrical now 30 inches to the wall, and as well as the island, so all the locations. The first issue comes in right here is interruptions. So it's very important to stay focused and focus on your measurements, because this is where the mistakes come in the industry. There's so many mistakes because of this situation right now. Being in construction, your customer or the client or a friend that's on at the house will come by just to talk to you, but you're doing something very important. So now instead of putting number 9, you can put number 6, and this is where the problem comes in. He obviously doesn't want anything bad. He just wanted to say hello to my dad, and there's nothing bad with that. However, if you wanted to have your measurements properly done, then stay focused. Do not get interrupted, or just double check your measurements after you just spoke to somebody. So that's exactly what I did. I rechecked the measurements of the island plumbing locations in the electrical just because I got interrupted, and now I'm measuring a second space. It's a laundry in the house. So here I'm measuring basically from the corner to the start of the plumbing, and then to the end of the plumbing to the window. Everything is specified on the design, if it has casing or it doesn't have casing, because if you don't have all this information, you're gonna have problems and you have to redesign. So measurements are very, very important. Now we're into an ensuite vanity, and this is basically the same thing. I'm just showing you how the space looks around, but the same idea. I'm measuring what I have. So you have the shower, from the wall to the shower, then how much to the beginning of the plumbing, and then to the end of the plumbing, from both sides, and then from the floor to the start of the pipe. Basically all the locations I'm marking for myself, how much the wall is coming out. So here I have to the tile, and just making notes on the drawings. And now we're gonna go into the other room, which is the master closet. Again, very important. Notice that this room has no casing, so I have to add that to the design, to my measurements, and specify I'm measuring how much is it to the pot light, because if the cabinets are 24 inches deep, which is a custom closet, the pot lights might be on a way. So everything has to be considered in your measurements. Again, I am repeating because this is one of the biggest mistakes that people do. It's they don't spend the time to measure. They go quick, they get interrupted, and then there's mistakes. Stuff doesn't fit, stuff doesn't work. So this is another bathroom that I'm measuring. Again, as you see, there's no walls, so I have to make references for myself and just specify where's the shower, and where's the plumbing located, and where's the toilet. Here we're measuring another bathroom, so very important. Again, there's a left wall with the window, so we gotta make sure there's enough clearance and space between the casing and the vanity doesn't come out it doesn't hit the casing. Now I'm measuring the toilet location, and we usually go 16 inches from the center of the toilet. That's our maximum width of the vanity. And this is basically, again, doing measurements to the window, so adding a note that there's no casing, so when I do the design I have to incorporate it into my drawings. So this is the best way to measure your spaces. Again, precision and spending the time and understanding that this is the most important part of your job. This is another example that I'm showing you. Basically, I go to Google, just save a picture of a graph paper, and I'm gonna design this closet just on a graph paper. So you can do it with your pen on a piece of paper, or you can do it on your iPad. This is what I'm doing right now, just to give you different options how you record the measurements. Most of my measurements are very simple, and when I get the job and I start to do detailed drawings, I go and remeasure the space. But this is basically, again, you just simply draw a floor plan of your space showing where you have the locations of the door, the windows, and the pot lights. So it doesn't have to be very complicated, but if you have a picture, it's a much better visual than having a floor plan. So it will give you a better understanding, and it will give you less mistakes, because sometimes you could see an outlet, you can forget that the window had no casings, or the door had no casings, or where you measure to. So using this type of method is very basic and not recommended. I would use the technology and use all kinds of tools and make my measurements exact, because when you do a drawing and you made a mistake, you don't want to go back, because every adjustment is time and money. So if you don't want to spend or waste your time, do your measurements properly and put as much information as possible. So as you see, this is very basic. I'm just adding also room height, and done. Very simple floor plan drawn by hand. Now this is an example of using a picture and how much it's better. So I'm able to put more measurements, for example, floor to window, and then now you see on this image that the measurements that I have is not actually with casing. There's no casing, and I see which way the door is opening, and I see how much to the pot light. So this is much more detailed and better visual drawings than having it done just with the floor plan. Thank you very much for watching. Please comment below and I'll answer all your questions. Have a wonderful day.